Hello and welcome to all top 5s. Ghosts, or Pi, are a long-standing part of Thai culture. Over the centuries, ancient folklore mixed with Thailand Buddhist beliefs, forming a rich range of night-dwelling spirits that take many different forms. They're not all bad though, with locals venerating many of them in shrines and with offerings. But there's nothing stopping them being spooky. Here are 5 Thai ghosts that I thought were particularly interesting. Number 5. Pret. In Thailand, there is a type of ghost that is always hungry, driven in a bestial fashion by its ravenous urges. It's called a Pret, derived from the Sanskrit word preta. A Pret is a spirit who dwells in desolate places and is doomed to endure an existence of great suffering. In Thai folklore specifically, they are incredibly tall and slender with emaciated features, and they wander from place to place desperately hungry and thirsty, trying to find something to consume. They aren't usually considered dangerous though, and are often pitied, with some Buddhist monks known to leave offerings of food to the Pret. But despite its great hunger, in Thailand the Pret is often cursed to live with a deformation, a mouth so small that a needle could have made the hole. This of course adds enormously to the tall ghost's suffering, as it can hardly consume anything with such a tiny mouth. The suffering a Pret endures is believed to be a kind of karmic punishment, based on its actions during its past human existence. Those who live greedily or deceitfully may wish they hadn't after death, when they return to this world as an agonised, pitiable, lumbering Pret. In the Thai horror anthology film Phobia 2, the first tale seems to focus on a Pret, or at least something very much like it, and is a good film in general to familiarise yourself with some of Thailand's creepiest supernatural stories. Because of its Hindu and Buddhist origins, the Pret is a ghost who has roots in Thailand, China, Vietnam, Japan, Cambodia, India and more, and you can now see how evocative it is. The image alone of a towering, gangling, starving ghost moaning deep in the forest is surely enough to send a shiver down anyone's spine. Number 4. Pika. Don't ever say that all top 5s isn't value for money. I've chosen to cover 6 different ghosts in one here. The Pika is a regional Thai ghost, believed to take the form of a relatively normal human, but it eats only raw meat. The Pika ghost, as I said, is divided into 6 different kinds. First, the Meinak Prakhanang is a very well-known Pika ghost in Thailand, which can bless fame and fortune upon people who ask for it by making sacrifices to the ghost, and it may inhabit shrines built for these spirits. The next most popular Pika ghost is the Pika Dong. This being is very different, known to be fierce and possibly even dangerous to the living. Pika Dong ghosts are also believed to hunt in packs like wolves, a thought that I find really quite scary for ghosts. Though as a saving grace, when it manifests physically, the Pika Dong's saliva is said to be able to treat diseases and cure illnesses. The Pika Archon is a ghost that has an unfortunate history. Historically, when a student would enroll to study at an academy, first they had to perform a traditional ceremony to honour the learning process. However, the Pika Archon exists now in its ghostly form because it had violated this Thai tradition in life, a stark warning to those who want to break tradition these days. Next up, you have the Pika Takud, a seemingly benevolent spirit who wanders the fields and is actually believed to increase their fertility, thereby helping farmers grow more crops. There is also the Pika Taihong, who in life sadly died in an unnatural way, leading to a ghost who is completely unaware that they're dead. And finally, there's the Nokao Pika, who is symbolised by an owl. In fact, you may know if a Nokao Pika is close during the night, as its arrival causes all nearby owls to start calling unnaturally and incessantly. So, while it may only take a simple human form, the Pika is a particularly interesting and diverse, varied ghost to consider on a moonlit night. Number 3. Cressu. Onto the Cressu now, a gruesome undead spectre that haunts Thailand, as well as all across Southeast Asia. Originating in Thai folklore, the Cressu was usually a woman who led a life of sin and shameful doings. Now in death she is cursed to exist as a ghastly spirit, who manifests as a young, beautiful woman's head, with her internal organs and entrails dangling down horribly below her neck as she floats across the countryside. She keeps her headless body hidden away carefully, as to lose her body would be fatal, and she joins it again during the day so as to appear like a normal human being. The Cressu has often been said to glow gently as well, with the luminescent glow of methane present in Thailand's marshes often attributed to the ghost, much like the will-o'-the-wisp in European folklore. This cursed spirit is always hungry, and will even kill livestock to drink their blood and eat their innards. It's said that Thai villagers would refuse to hang their clothes out to dry overnight, as they feared that they'd find them the next morning covered in blood and muck, where a Cressu had wiped her filthy mouth after feeding. To deter the ghost, people would surround their houses with spiky fences, believing that the Cressu would fear getting her exposed intestines caught on the barbs. Far from being a historical ghost, the Cressu is still popular today in Thailand, with numerous sightings of glowing lights and mysterious livestock deaths being attributed to the voracious spirit, even in the last few years. Number 2. Kumantong. Now we turn to the Kumantong from Thai folk religion. It's a good spirit that is revered among some households and believed to bring good fortune and positive luck to people, though be warned, it has very grisly origins. Kumantong essentially means golden little boy, but it arises from black magic. Ancient witch doctors in Thailand used to practice necromancy. They would surgically remove the fetus of an unborn child who had died in the womb, then take it to a cemetery for a special ritual. The stillborn child's body was then dried out thoroughly in a hot oven, while the witch doctor chanted the ritual words. Then the dried body would be painted with gold leaf, like in pottery, hence the word tong, meaning golden. Its dead spirit was then believed to be invoked, and the unborn child would live, in a way, as Kumantong, providing assistance to the witch doctor. This practice is an ancient one, not practiced any longer for obvious reasons. Today there are souvenir reproductions, which are considered more to be like good luck charms. The spirits who dwell within never manifest like other ghosts, but instead they bring good fortune. There are occasional reports of the gruesome rites still happening though, like in 2012, where a British Taiwanese man was arrested in Bangkok in possession of 6 roasted and gold-covered male fetuses. So it's not for the faint of heart, but the idea of Kumantong is actually a really nice positive spin on a dark origin, a way of preserving life in a beneficial way after the tragedy of something dreadful like stillbirth. Number 1. Meinak Prakhanang. A true Thai legend here. Meinak Prakhanang means Lady Nak of Prakhanong, where Prakhanong is a famous canal in the capital city, Bangkok. A beautiful young woman called Meinak lives by the Prakhanong canal with her husband, Mak, whom she loves more than anything. Meinak falls pregnant and her husband is called away to war. He's wounded, and while he recovers, Meinak and her child sadly die during childbirth. On Mak's return, he finds the loving Meinak and his child waiting for him at home. He doesn't realise they're ghosts, and any neighbour who tries to warn him of this are killed. Eventually, Mak realises his loving wife is a ghost when he sees her arms extending to inhuman lengths, and at night he flees to a temple whose sacred grounds ghosts may not enter. Meinak is furious and grieving and haunts the residents of Prakhanong, blaming them for her husband's escape. An exorcist is called, however, and manages to track down and capture Meinak's spirit in an earthen jar and hurls it into the waters of the canal. Years later, the jar is recovered and opened by a fisherman, and the desperate Meinak is freed once more, only to be seized once again by a famous monk who imprisons her spirit into the bone in Meinak's forehead. From then, that monk wore this bone within his waistband in order to watch over it. It's believed nowadays that the royal family looks after this ghostly relic, as hinted at by the Prince of Chompon early in the 20th century. This inspirational story of a woman's unstoppable love and devotion is well known in Thailand and has been adapted into countless print and film productions. There is a statue and a shrine to Meinak inside a temple next to Phra Khanong, and many Thai people still visit to make offerings, asking for blessings such as easy childbirth or for a husband not to be summoned away to war. People will also release into the canal itself live fish, lotuses, and incense sticks as a way of venerating Meinak, whose spirit lies hopefully at rest somewhere, safely tucked away in the residences of Thailand's royal family. And that's it from All Top 5s for this week. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and click the subscribe button and bell for more videos in the future. Or you can click to support All Top 5s on Patreon and see new videos before anyone else. Peace and love to each and every one of you, of course, and I'll see you all next time on All Top 5s.